it occurs in this boy. It's supposed to be an adult cancer, and I think we're going to talk about the odds of that happening a little bit later. But you know, that initial diagnosis was tough.
So for those that are viewing this and people here in the audience today, kind of walk us through the motions of that. You know, just parents, your child, the news of cancer, just kind of the emotions that you went through with hearing this heartbreaking news.
Well, you know, this whole time, you know, they pulled Sarah and I aside. She didn't want to tell us in front of Ayden. And a lot of these questions that we're going to ask today, or that Bobby's asking us today, we haven't necessarily asked Ayden just point blank. So when they were pulling us out of the room, Ayden, and pulling us aside and talking to us, what did you think?
I thought that this must be bad if they're pulling parents out and not letting me hear anything. And I was thinking in my head, what's going to happen next? What am I going to do? What's going to happen to me?
A lot of questions. Were you scared?
Yeah.
And Sarah, for you, emotional.
Same thing. You know, once she told us, and the big thing for us was she didn't say anything in front of Ayden. She would take us to this little room, and she told us, and at that point I was just mad, just mad.
Yeah. Now, Sarah, let's talk about what were your emotions. What were you mad at? The fact that he had it? Was it the way she expressed it? What was the doctor's disposition? Was it something that she was doing to make you all, like, was she being insensitive in that communication? How did she?
Not at all. She really kind of went into warrior mode. Mm-hmm. And you know, here again, I think I probably will talk about the perfect storm from time to time as we're going through this, but she was the right person. That this doctor at Fitzgibbon was the right person, and she sent us to the right person, along with Dr. Ulbrich, the Fitzgibbon doctor, and I cannot remember her name.
I don't know.
And Dr. Ulbrich made the decision to send us to this lady at Children's Mercy.
Her name was Dr. Manley.
And her name was Dr. Manley, and she went into warrior mode, and you could just tell she was in the mode. I mean, she was focused on Ayden, and she didn't have any other concerns that day or that week than us and Ayden. And so we were never mad at her, and she was so wonderful. And I want to talk more about her later, but she'd pull us aside, and she would say, "Okay, it's cancer. This is what it is. These are the tests we have to run. It's bad." And you just break down and cry. And you just cry and cry and cry. And you try to get your emotions together. You try to get your thoughts together. And she said, "Okay, now we have to do a bone scan because this cancer can go to the bones, it can go to the brain." And so those thoughts go through your mind, and we're like, well, we've been given so much bad news over and over and over. We're just going to get some more bad news. And so, you know, that goes through your mind, and you kind of lose a little hope there. You kind of give up faith a little bit, not faith, but you know, faith in your situation. And it came to a point where we said, no more. We said, no more. You're not going to pull us into another room. You're not going to tell us any more bad news. It's bad enough. This is where we take our stands, drawing a line in the sand. We're taking our stand right here. You're not going to tell us anymore. You tell us what we need to do, and that's what we'll do. Yeah. We don't care what else you say.
So has your family been informed of Ayden's condition at this point? How did you walk us through the process of how you informed first Ayden and then your immediate family? As mom and dads, and Addie, you weren't at the hospital initially, right? So just kind of walk us through that process on how everyone was informed.
The grandparents were all out at the hospital at Fitzgibbon when they found the tumor. But then we went straight on up to Children's Mercy. Addie had a volleyball game that following day, so my mom and dad stayed back. Actually, all the grandparents stayed back, and my mom and dad took her to the volleyball game. Really, they didn't come up until later that day after we got the final diagnosis, that kind of thing. But Dr. Manley, we were sitting in the little room, and she wanted to know how we wanted to go about telling Ayden. Aaron could probably tell you a little more.
Yeah, so the grandparents didn't know. They knew that he had a tumor, but they didn't know that it was cancer, or what exactly it was. And Dr. Olberg was wonderful too. He said, don't worry until it's time to worry. And he was really comforting with that advice. But they didn't really know. They just knew something was bad. They knew that he had a tumor, and they knew that we were going for a diagnosis. And so we put them in charge of Addie. And Addie was playing volleyball at Sacred Heart in Sedalia, and they just kind of took her under wing. And one of the things that Sarah and I decided from the very beginning is her life can't change. She's got to continue on the path that she's on. We can't let this affect her life, and because she's on a very good path of her own. And so that was one of our #1 priorities in the beginning. And so the grandparents said, sure, we'll go to her game, we'll pick her up. So in the meantime, we're at Children's Mercy. Sarah and I have gotten all this horrible news, and we said, no more. We're taking a stand. You know, there's two types of people in life that I found, you know, fight or flight people, and we're not the flight people, we're the fight people. And I think that's the way to be. And we just decided we're taking a stand, we're going to fight. And so there's a hotel we stay at when we're at Children's Mercy, and we go to this hotel. Ayden, do you like that hotel? It's the bad news hotel. But it's a nice place, but it's bad news. Anyway, we go to the hotel. The Royals are playing in the playoffs, divisional series. I think it's against the Angels. And so we're watching the game, and we're just kind of having our normal evening, as normal as possible. And Sarah and I talked about telling Ayden, and I pulled him aside and I said, Ayden, there's something I have to tell you. And I said, Ayden, you have cancer. And I tried to explain it to him in terms of skin cancer. I said, if you have skin cancer and you don't treat it, it will spread in your body and it will eventually kill you. I said, you